Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, continuing to apply the decals now to the Estes Black Brant II I've been building. And at this point, I've got the lower half done. I put the little numbers and whatever they are on, and it is time to do the upper parts. So again, the launch lug is the critical part here. It's got to go in this white box. I'm going to put the next decal on over to it, and that's this black one with the writing on it. So in it goes, and there we go. So this one is going to go, and it needs to be lined up essentially with the midline of this, which is kind of the edge of the launch lug, more or less. So that's going to be my next cue for placement. And it's going to kind of run in between these two right here. Hopefully. We'll see how accurate this ends up being. You know, all of this is kind of eyeballing it. I've seen some Estes instructions that actually give you measurements for precisely where all this stuff's supposed to be, but honestly those are kind of few and far between. Ooh, boy. Whoops. Anyway, so let's kind of cross fingers and hope this works. So again, I'm going to use the launch lug as my alignment, and of course I'm also going to have it aligned so that it just touches the bottom, or the top rather, the bottom of this touches the top of the previous decals that I put on here. This probably could have stayed in the water a little bit longer, it's a little stiff. If it's too stiff, there are two things potentially bad that could happen. One is you could tear it. This one's so big that that's unlikely to happen. The other problem potentially is you could warp it, and we wouldn't want that either. There we go. So I actually had it a little too close to the launch lug there, which is to say I had it on top of the launch lug. Don't want that. I'm going to scoot this down a little bit. This one apparently was a little farther up than the other, and that's not ultimately a big deal, I guess, but I can cover it up. That's not really a problem. This shouldn't be a problem either because the instructions say I'm likely to need to trim some of it. So, yeah. Alright, that looks pretty good. This doesn't, it's not exactly where I would want it to be, but it's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, looking at the instructions, these aren't really supposed to be lined up. They're supposed to be, it's supposed to be shifted a little bit this way, but I mean, we got the launch lug to worry about. That's just not really an option to try to fix that. The next black segment is supposed to be 180 degrees opposed to it. This little nameplate is going to go like right in here. So I don't really need to worry too much about where that is. I just want to line the black part up, and the black part is supposed to basically go in between these two. So that's my next cue. Hopefully this is soaked a little bit longer. I would like it to be a little, yeah, there we go, a little more flexible. So I'm going to try to line it up so that it's in between those as best as I can. It's not going to be completely 180 degrees opposite to the previous decal, I don't think, just because, you know, the launch lug situation. But, you know, honestly, that's not bad. I can live with that. I'm going to toss this nameplate in while I deal with blotting and making sure there aren't any air bubbles. The big ones, I don't know, I typically have less trouble with air bubbles in them, but you never know. It's always something different when working with decals. By the way, this is the run here, and my paint right in there. Decals cover it up pretty well, so I am glad that I didn't spend too much time getting bent out of shape about that. Right. The nameplate here is going to be lined up with the letters in the other one, So use that as a reference. I want it basically centered as well. That would be nice. And letters look pretty good that way. They're not quite centered in the white, but it's pretty close. Oop. All right. I'm happy with that. It's pretty good. All right, now for this last big black piece. This one, it's not really going to fit in my custard cup. There are very few water slide decals that are that big, so most of the time I don't have any problem getting all that stuff in there. But this time, yeah, it doesn't quite fit. This one, so it has a couple of notches in it that I cut out. They are going to be like these right here. They're these, I'm guessing, supposed to be Canada Goose little decals. So I'm going to let this dry completely before I try to put those on. So, that might be something I do off camera. But that's kind of it, other than figuring out what to do with these 3 remaining little white tags. There's some writing that I can see over here that they go on the nose cone. I don't know. I might just stagger them in between the toothpick structures. It looks like there's 2 on the same side, but I don't see any others, so I don't know. I think there are 3. I'll put 1 in between each of the toothpicks, and that'll be fine. Alright, let's see how slidey this is. That could probably use a little bit more of a soak. This one, I actually want it to come off pretty easily. Now, my quick little measurement there, just holding it up, does indicate that this is too long. So I think what I'm going to do, at least for now, is I'm going to fold it kind of over into the tube maybe, and consider trimming it after it's dry. Maybe rolling it into the tube will be perfectly fine as is. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. And I am not going to try to cut this while it's wet. I think that would be a phenomenally bad idea. Alright, as for the notches, it looks like one of them, this notch is supposed to be in line with the black text where it says CARDE. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be my alignment goal here. So it's going to be kind of like this, I think. So I'm going to actually peel it off sideways instead of the way I had been doing it. We'll see if that, we'll see very soon if that's a good idea or not. It's going to be a little bit difficult to make sure that this is on straight, at least to start, but as I wrap it around, it should, hopefully it won't tear. Yeah. I should be able to see. If it's not quite in alignment, then I can rotate it. This is why I wanted this one particularly wet, because there is so much of it. If I do need to rotate it, I don't want it sticking where it shouldn't be. That looks pretty good. Could be better. I'm just going to use gravity to kind of flatten this out for me as I rotate it around. I got most of it down that way. Alright. I am pretty happy with the placement here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blot forward through the bottom of this, not the whole way, because a couple reasons, but mostly because of this overlap, the overhang here. Now I'm going to get most of the way, and let's see if, rolling it over I don't think is a great plan. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to let it dry like this. I think that might be the best plan for now. Because it's like a 1/4 of an inch overhang. What I don't really want to happen is if I try to trim it now, I'm concerned that doing so will mess up where this is laying. So yeah, I think for the time being, I'm just going to let that go. I'm going to let it dry a bit. I'm probably not going to let it dry the whole way, but most of the way. And then I don't think, my usual shears are pretty wide, so I don't think I'm going to use them. I do have narrower scissors I might consider, but this is also one of those situations where I could just put my hobby blade down and trim right next to the tube like that. I think that's probably the best bet. That's what's going to happen. Alright, in the meantime, I've still got these Canada Goose stickers. They go up, I think, facing, so the goose is flying upwards. So they're going to go in like this. But again, I'm not going to do them until things dry. These also, I'm going to do them off camera. So for the time being, this is where this video ends, I guess. So thanks for watching. The next video, I should have all that stuff done, and it will be time to put the finishing touches on with the parachute and that kind of thing. Alright, so thanks for watching. See you next time.